I'm a part of stock and manufacturing team. Mostly work on new features related to stock and manufacturing models. Also, any issues, support and that I handle at Frappe. So, in today's talk, I'm going to talk on the V16 features which we have already developed and merged in a developed branch. And those are like 20-30% features only. But yeah, there are many more features are oncoming. And I'm going to share the roadmap as well. So yeah, stay tuned. So first feature is, first problem was tracking of semi-finished goods. First, let's talk about the semi-finished goods. So semi-finished goods is nothing but the components which is required to create a finished product. And just for an example, if you see the computer as an example, it has components like monitor, CPU, keyboard. I'm taking a simple example for understanding. CPU may have multiple subcomponents, and to manufacture, to make entries in ERPNext, so there can be chances that some sub-assemblies are subcontract, like you have given the raw materials to your vendor and vendor will provide you the final product or the subcomponent. Some components you are making in-house and subcomponents are purchased. So to do that, we have a work orders. Like you can create a multiple work orders for subcomponent, and you can also create a work order for your final product. But with work orders, the problem was you cannot control the sequence of completion. Like users can maybe start the first work order for final product, and then maybe they can start the work order for the subcomponents. So there was no validation, and it was very hard for us to add the validation there as well. So for that, we have decided to use the job card for tracking the subcomponents. And for that, we have added a checkbox on bill of material, that is a track semi-finished goods. On a bill of material, again the operation, we can define the bill of material and the finished good or the semi-finished good. So I'm having the three operations here. First is the CPU assembly, against which I selected the semi-finished good as a CPU and their BOM. And then I selected a monitor. My monitor is a subcontract item. So we have added a checkbox as a subcontracted. And yeah. So if you don't want to add a bill of material, then you can directly add a raw material. So for a last operation assembly, I am directly adding the raw materials because I don't want to create a BOM. So likewise, you can generate the bill of material having the operation with the subcontract. With the subcomponents. So this is how it will look, the operations, their semi-finished goods, finished goods, and the bill of material details. So now execution part. So on a job card, the first operation is a CPU assembly. So against the job card, earlier we had an option to transfer the materials from store to WIP. And you have to do you have to complete the all job cards first. And while making the finished good, you have to do the manufacturer entry against the work order. But with this feature, now you will be able to create the manufacturer entry against the job card. So you don't need to create a job manufacturer entry against the work order. Next, as I mentioned, like my so I'm submitting the job card. Now you can see the make stock entry button. Once I click, the stock entry for the manufacturer is completed against the job card. So this is the way I created a sub-assembly item, which is a CPU. Next is the monitor assembly, and this is the subcontracting item. So again the job card, we will give you the provision to create a subcontracting PO. Then against the PO you have to create a subcontracting order, subcontracting receipt. So you have to complete the whole subcontracting process against the job card. And once you done the subcontracting receipt, the system will complete that job card. So you can see the make subcontracting PO option is available on job card. So next operation is assembly. This is last operation. Again, again the job card, you can transfer the material and then create a manufacturer's stock entry. So again, next stock entry option. So I'm skipping some part by understanding, since you have the understanding of that part, so I'm skipping the transfer part and just showcasing how to complete the job card. So once the job card is done, we can see the all job cards status as completed. And once you see the work order, the status is changed to complete. So you don't need to make any transaction, stop transaction again the work order. All you have to do is again the job card. Next is I think you all of you know how valuation rate we calculate on the manufacturer stock entry, right? So it's basically the raw material cost we add with the corporation cost, and that's the cost of the final product. But what if I, let's say, completed the manufacturing part and I received the electricity bill and the electricity cost was high. So I had to include that electricity cost in my final product cost. So earlier there was no option, but in V16 we are adding the landed cost voucher again the manufacturer stock entry. Also we are adding the subcontracting receipt support for the landed cost voucher. So let's say you done the subcontracting receipt, after that you have received the excess duty bill from the vendor, and that amount you have to include in the subcontracting receipt finished good. So for that LCD will be helpful. So you now with the V16 feature you can add the LCD for stock entry, manufacturing entry and the subcontracting receipt. Next is the stock reservation for production plan. In the last conference I showcased we have done the stock reservation for work order, and after that talk, a lot of people told me we should have the option to reserve the stock for production plan as well. So with the stock, with the production plan, so if you have the sub-assembly, so production plan has a sub-assembly and the raw materials. If you have the sub-assembly items or the raw materials, then system will create the stock reservation entry. If you have the stock, then system will create the stock reservation entry. If you don't, okay. So I'm just submitting the production plan. So on a production plan, we added a checkbox called reserve stock. So once I submit the production plan, the system will automatically create the stock reservation entry if the materials are available. But what if the materials are not available? Then again you have to create a work order for your sub-assembly items, and for raw materials you have to create the purchase order. And once you procure the raw materials, the system will automatically reserve that materials to the respective production plan. Also, once you complete the work order for sub-assembly, the system will automatically reserve the sub-assembly items to the respective production plan. So I'm just showcasing the procurement flow. So I created a material request. From that I'm creating a purchase order. And from purchase order I will create a purchase receipt, which is just a normal flow. And once the purchase receipt is submitted, the system will automatically create the stock reservation entry against the respective production. So you can see the new stock reservation entry. Next one is the periodic accounting entry. So we have a perpetual accounting. So a perpetual accounting means once you've done the stock transaction, the system automatically creates the GL entry against that. But in some organizations, they keep it off and they manually do the periodic. Basically, they manually generate the journal entry. And in the manual case, what they do, they check the stock balance first. They check the closing balance, and then they match with the trial balance. And whatever the difference they see, they create the journal entry against that. So instead of that, we have added this manual process to make it automatic. We have added a new type on the journal entry, and you have to select the periodic entry difference account and just click on the gate balance. So system will automatically do the calculation at the back end, and you don't need to do the manual testing. So after that, this entry, the trial balance is shown currently as 24,000. So this is the roadmap. We are still working on this feature, so I'm not talking more on this part. There are more things we are doing in V16, majorly on the UI side. That's also, I don't want to spoil here, but yeah, we will highlight it in the next conference.